Let's step over here where you can kind of see the kind of layout of the ranch first. So we have 44 acres, so we own to the top of the ridge, kind of over there, to the top of the ridge over there, and then you can actually see the end of the trail to the top of the ridge. Do you see that going up?
Yeah.
So it starts over here and it goes across the mountain, and then you can even see part of it right there. Do you see that little cut in the hill?
Oh, yeah.
And then it joins and goes up there. It's actually really easy because we went up there with hose and rakes and shovels and made a legit trail. So it's a 1 mile trail, but you don't have to climb straight up the hill.
Okay.
So, and I'll show you where that is once we get to the lower part of the ranch. So the house that you guys are staying in was built in 1960, and it came off of Boise Avenue.
Oh,
So
you hauled it up here?
well, the original owner did.
Okay.
It was brought up here, I believe, in 1972, and it was built in 1916. So the sink that's in there is the original sink from 1916. We refinished it. Same with the tub. And this house, when we bought the place, was T-rashed. It was just one of those where the couple was here, spent their whole life building it up, but they got older and things kind of, you know, ran down a little bit. So it was the only reason we could afford it, but we had a lot of work to do. This is the house that they lived in, and just like ranchy folks do, it was actually their garage shop, and they turned it into their home without permits. So we had to go through the process of making it another dwelling and all that. So another reason we were able to afford it. We ended up kind of just buying the land, and all the other stuff was bonus. This is a 15-person sauna. We built that. It's beautiful. It's wood fired. The only light in there is the fire itself, and it's a very sacred place here on the ranch. We treat it in a way where we ask all your conversations to be positive. We sing in there. It's really, when you step into it, it's beautiful. It's a work of art. Yeah. We do a little bit of gardening here, and that's our garden down in the front. In homesteading, I teach a principle that we call goats, not gardening. If you think about it, are you guys gardeners at all? You are? Okay. Well, gardening's a lot of work: planting, tilling, weeding, harvesting, and then trying to keep it to where you're, you know, jarring or canning or doing whatever you're doing, right? And so the caloric, I was a really big gardener at one time, and I started paying attention. I was like, the calories I'm putting out versus what's coming in just is not equating.
Yeah, you wait all summer.
Right. So what we garden now is for our pleasure. So we make things that we really enjoy. Tomatoes, we have blueberries, strawberries, things that people as they walk past can pick. But as far as the chore of gardening, it's really just a pleasurable thing for us more than a source of food, right? Yeah. And what we do is we garden for the goats. And so we intentionally plant to rebuild the soil. What most people do is a traditional pasture will have just one species, which is grass. Our pastures have 15 species because goats forage rather than graze. So it allows us to take better care of the land and the soil, which is where it all starts. If you're going to do permaculture, you're going to take care of the soil and you're going to take care of the water, because the whole goal is to have the land take care of itself without being watered. And you can engineer the plants to be arid or whatever it is, deep rooting, and then they support one another, and how your grazing techniques can lend to it. Plus, we've been contributing compost from goats, which is some of the best compost on the planet, over all our pastures. So we have 5 different grazing pastures now that we've planted intentionally, and I'll show you some of the other ones down below, but we're really starting to get where the ground takes care of itself. That's the goal. We have 40 goats. We run a full milking operation. Our does are on this side, and that's our milk barn. And when we're at our peak of milking, we're at about 12 to 14 gallons a day. So we have customers that come in. We have a freezer on the front porch. It's just a grab and go. You can pay by Venmo. And if you haven't studied goat milk, it's arguably the best food on planet Earth you can put in your body. Live microbiome. It is. It's called the universal milk. You can feed it to anything, puppies, cats, whatever, because it's so usable by the body. What its secret is it's the #1 source on the planet of medium chain triglycerides, which are really small fat molecules. So they can absorb straight through the stomach, they can go into the blood-brain barrier, and they're carrier molecules for lots of minerals. And because goats have such a diverse diet, when a goat takes food into his mouth, it takes up to 7 days to come out their butt. So they get every ounce out of what they eat. That's why the rest of the world lives on goats, because they're not rich enough to put fertilizers and all the things that we have here, because we have cheap oil, and we're able to go in and use things that aren't good for the land to be able to
Horns for the cattle.
correct, yeah. So goats are really gentle on the land, and then because they eat a little bit of this and a little bit of that, instead of just mowing a line on monocrop, which monocrops are not great for the land. You need diversity and deep rooting and legumes and all those different things, and goats eat all those. So we do live in mule deer wintering range, so we'll have hundreds of mule deer around the ranch. And then elk have their babies right below our ranch. So when you put that many ungulates in an area, then you attract the predators. So we have cougars, wolves, bears, coyotes, bobcats around the ranch every night. So we protect the ranch with the livestock guardian dogs, and these guys are super cool. Yeah, so Storm and livestock guardian dogs traditionally are not really humanized, but this guy's super nice. Come on, Storm. Come on, buddy. Come on. I just got a boy. So this is Storm, and Rain. Rain is his mate.
Oh my goodness.
And he's just a big lunkus.
I have a dog. You can smell.
He's super kind. Anatolians, yeah. And then
That's his breed. Is
yeah, he's an Anatolian Shepherd.
He's big.
Yeah, he weighs like 150. The female's like weighs 110. And the saying is that one Anatolian against a cougar has a chance. 2 Anatolians, the cougar has no chance.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
They work together then.
They do.
Yeah.
And they're like a ground and pound. I mean, look at those claws. He's like got bear claws, right? So that, like, I had to learn to not play with him because he would scratch me so bad. And he comes up and stand up on his thing, and they're pretty playful as well. So these are this year's baby does that are last spring's babies. These guys are actually pregnant. Amazingly enough, goats can breed at 4 months old. And the bucklings can. We hold these young juveniles off clear to the end of the breeding season, and kind of the weight mark is 70 pounds. Once they reach 70 pounds, then they're big enough to be able to have a baby that season. But it takes, go ahead and pet them. They're super sweet. Yeah, this is Angel. Yeah, he's jealous. Yeah. Yeah, so all our does are pregnant now, and we're starting to take them out of milk, because when they're, a doe in agriculture, commercial agriculture, if you milk her throughout the year and you don't let her have a break, her average lifespan will be 7 to 9 years. If you give her a 3-month break to grow a baby and to recover and to dry up, she can live as much as 12 and 15 years. So goats live a dog's life, and what kills them is their teeth. So when their teeth wear down that they can no longer chew their cud, they can't get their full nutrient out. So we're one of the only ones that actually goes to the effort of taking care of their teeth as well. So I invented a goat float tool. It's the same as horses. It's called floating their teeth. And when a goat, if you imagine their teeth, they grind it like this. And what will happen is they'll get sharp points that come off each end. And when they can't touch the flat surface anymore, you have to come in and grind down those edges. So it's a little tool that you go in and you literally grind down the edge of their teeth, and they get a lot more longevity out of their teeth.
Like, how often do you do a checkup on
We usually do it first time at 6 years old, and then we'll do it every 2 years after that. And it's quite a deal, because you'll see my big wethers they're huge. They're 200 to 250 pounds. Wether is a castrated male goat. They're the ones I pack with. And getting him to just settle down enough to let you stick a tool in his mouth, including a speculum that opens his mouth. But goats are really unique in their ability to kind of sense, hey, he's trying to help me. I'm not going to fight anymore. I'm just going to kind of let them do their thing. And, just my wife and I, just the two of us, can go in and float even our biggest goat's teeth, because they help. They sense it. So They're a pretty cool animal to work with. I call them cattle dog smart. They're crazy, crazy smart animal. Open gates, figure out complex things. They're what I really say is they're a pain in the ass smart, and they are. So a goat just needs a good 3-sided shelter to live in. One of the things I teach in homesteading is to have your shelters mobile. You'll actually see that these are on skids. I can drag them around, put them in a new location. How you bed your goats is huge with their health because they need to stay dry during the winter. But as long as you give them a place to bed down with big, deep bedding, and they can paw out their beds, and then we use what's called the deep bedding method, which is a deep litter method, which is where you just put new bedding on top of bedding, and what's happening down underneath is it's composting, and composting is an exothermic reaction. It gives off heat. So when they paw out their bed, they're laying on actually like a little heat blanket. So goats can actually do quite well. This is Lola. Lola went on a backcountry trip this year with me. She was my milker. We did a fun experiment this year. I lived 5 days in the backcountry on a trip just off of goat milk for food and water. So the only thing I was taking in was goat milk. Yeah, and I personally drink a gallon of goat milk a day and 1 ribeye a day. That's pretty much, that's like 80% of my diet. Yeah, so just pure food, you know, that your body doesn't have to work to process. I'm not putting junk calories in, you know, high density calories, lowest amount of effort creates the greatest longevity. The less you make your body work to take care of the toxins and all those things, you just lead a longer life. So we'll go this way. I'll show you back over here. This is important for you to realize. Anatolians and livestock guardian dogs do not protect based on the fact that they'll kill something that comes in the pen. It's that they have such a presence on the other side of the fence that nothing wants to come into the pen. So these guys literally bark the perimeter all night long at a mouse fart. So if you have livestock guardian dogs, you have to have sound machines because they have a loud bark and they bark all night long. So most of how they protect the property is just with their presence. Nothing in 5 years has ever come in the pen that storm or rain have killed. So they've just done a good job. I've heard coyotes right at the edge of the fence and them full on, because you can tell when there's one there because he's going nuts. But the predator kind of comes up and goes, is it worth it? Nah, they're kind of big, and they're
big bark.
right. So that's how they protect the property. This is where our birthing stalls, and we kid out almost 50 babies a year. So if you come in the spring, we're knee deep in babies. Yeah, we have a baby goat camp for kids, and these are two. So this goat right here is really shy, and so the reason he's there is that we use this closer pen so we can come in, pet him, give him peanuts, get him nice. See, this guy's just, you know, hungry for love. But you can see he's kind of like, are you going to give me a treat? What are you here to do? Come here, buddy. So since he was born, some goats, when you put pressure on them, meaning vet care and or moving them through the property, they're just shyer goats, and they begin to a goat is the fastest to go feral animal that we work with. And so if you're not hands-on with them there every day, which is hard to do that for 50 goats, your shyer goats will end up this way, and then they become harder to handle on the trail. This is one of my males that I want to be a packer, but if he doesn't fully bond, he just won't make the cut. And so we're having him have some special attention in here. But we'll use this stall. Yeah, they follow out of love and bonding on the trail. And then this is where we kid out babies. So we have a little baby camera so that we can watch in the night and make sure, you know, when you have quads, which we had 3 sets of quads last year, that's a lot of umbilicals, a lot of legs. We have huge babies here because we breed big goats, and you have to really assist them a lot. That's what PackGoats.com has become, is a source of, we have courses on how to raise babies, courses on how to help a goat have birth, how to run a milking operation. We're kind of the source for the world of learning how to raise goats. And especially here in America, we're the only country in the world that forgot the value of a goat. So we don't have the generational information. We don't have grandpa raised them and he taught me stuff. And vets don't know goats because they only take a week on goats in school as a large animal vet. So it's really hard to get a vet that knows goats. So if you don't know how to raise goats, and they're complex, way more than most people think. Top 100 homesteaders last year voted on the most difficult animals to raise on the homestead. Goats were the second most difficult animal out of 46. So we're talking emus and all kinds of weird animals. Goats are very complex. They're hard to keep alive. People think they'll just eat anything, and they
Right,
don't.
they don't.
And
We borrowed one time from a friend that he raises some. Didn't eat anything we wanted. Just played with our dog.
Yeah, yeah. Most people's initial experience with goats is, oh man, they're different than I thought. And by the time they're far enough in, that goat is sick enough because they haven't had the proper care, because it's not intuitive. It's not easy. So we'll roll on over here. So this is our wethers, and again, a wether is a castrated male goat. And yeah. If you guys kind of want to be amongst them, this is a great pen to be amongst, and then we'll just go out that way. This is one of this year's bucklings. This is Phil. Doesn't he look like a Phil? So he's a breeding buck that we've castrated, and
So
he's.
do you call him a buckling because it's their first year?
Yeah, but less than 1 year old male. Yeah, and then these are all the wethers. Goats, hun boys, goats, hun. And then this is Mr. Black, and hi guys. Here's Blade. Hi, Blader. He's super nice. None of them have an aggressive nature. They're looking for peanuts and love.
Like, what do you got for us?
Yeah. This is Slick, the old man in the group. He's 9.
Do you guys trim their ears then?
Nope, these are La Manchas. That's how they're born. Yeah, and this is a horn repair. So he actually broke that. The horn is alive underneath, and it's blood filled. And he has a tendency to rub his horns, and he's thinned his horn wall. So to save his life, because he'll bleed to death if he breaks it, we've reinforced it with a hoof repair. Don't touch that guy. He's stinky. He's got pee on his face.
Like he does his hair.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, that's because that's what a young buck, if we left him intact, he would get super hairy, and they always pee on their face. That's why goats have the reputation of being stinky, is because of these guys. We don't keep breeding bucks around. As soon as breeding season's over, we'll castrate them, and then we turn them into our packers. So all these guys were breeders at one time of their life. So this is Scout. So this is Blade's son. Yeah, and then Blade's other son is Wolf. So Wolf was a breeding buck that bred a lot of these guys, and yeah, so that's kind of those guys. Let's go down this way where it's not muddy, and I'll show you the creek bottom. So this is one of the water catchments that allows for the seepage that comes off the highway to be collected here in our groundwater, and then it goes down and waters this pasture. So this goes down in, and then we have a pond down there. We have a spring that we leave natural. So you see where all this grass is, that's a spring that comes out of the ground and runs about 9 months a year, and then it channels around, dumps into this, and then gets into the water of the pasture, and then goes into the pond as well. So one of the ways that we do that is just sending water where we want it, finding a place where it can kind of hold and permeate, and then go out across the land. We obviously use composting. We allow our compost to mature for about a year. And then we spread it on the fields. When we moved here, this was all eroded granite and weeds and dirt. So everything has kind of come up and become really beautiful. My wife is a horse lady. She's been in horses for 40 years. And her family has 60 horses. So we kind of got the pick of the litter. He's a wild Mustang from the Chalice herd that she broke. And he is like, all our horses are super gentle, both on the ground and if you want to pet them. This is Dark Khan. Dark Khan is like, this is like a 27-year-old horse, and he just loves love, and he's an Arabian. Hot buddy. Yeah.
He's 20, and you said 27.
Yeah, and he'll come up and just lay into you. And here comes Elena, and Elena's a big lover too. Yeah.
Smell like goats and cats and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So all our horses are on the older side, so they're just dunk on the trail. They're really easy to ride, and Trisha gives riding lessons. This is kind of fun. This is that nest in the top of the hay barn. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if they come in and roost in here while we're walking around, because they always come in this time of night. It's actually ravens, and I've never encountered. And they moved in here the year we moved here. So the year we moved here, they picked our place. And the pile of sticks that was on the ground underneath that was over 7 feet tall and then 7 feet in diameter. So they would put a stick on there, it would fall off, they would deem it unworthy and go get another one and bring it back to make that nest. So they'll have 4 babies in it every year. 3 of them survive, 1 gets kicked out. So one of these years I'm going to take the one that gets kicked out and try to raise them, do something cool that way. But the ravens are a real blessing to us because they're super territorial around their nests. So they'll keep all the birds of prey out of here. And this is an eagle migration corridor. And so we free range chickens and peacocks and all that different stuff, and we've never lost a bird still.
They could probably catch a baby goat even? I mean,
Potentially an eagle for sure. The livestock guardian dogs take care of that. So you'll actually see those crows will pitch over and Storm will run and yeah. So he does a good job too. But the ravens, they'll a lot of times sit up. You can see our corner post up on the ridge. They'll sit up on that corner post, and if a hawk comes through, you'll see them pitch off, and then they'll hassle them out of the area. So they do a good job of keeping our birds of prey. Now, what's something to know about this creek bottom is this burned to the ground only about 11 years ago. So every tree you see in here is 11 years old or younger. And so it's all cottonwoods, and then we have a lot of fruit trees in here actually that survived the fire for some reason. We have really old apple trees, cherry trees, we have blackberries. We grow probably 30 pounds a year of mushrooms in here of lion's mane variant. It's called bear's tooth. Freezes delicious, tastes delicious. It's cool to be able to come and pull your own mushrooms out of your own forest. You know, it's kind of cool. But that we're rebuilding the riparian area, the area around the creek bottoms, trying to kind of use the goats to control the heavy brush and then come in and kind of manage our forest. But there's a lot more trees down here than you think, and when you drive out of here, you'll notice no trees above the ranch, no trees below the ranch, but we have thousands on the ranch. It's just really a unique place. So you can find us on Ripple Ranch, Idaho. If you want to do horseback riding, Tricia does lessons. We do trail rides throughout the ranch, and she's really fun to do that stuff with. And then this year we built this into a wedding center. So show you that. We just opened up this space for weddings this summer. Travis and I worked ourselves to a bloody nub, and we built this terraced area back here. This used to have a RV in it. The previous owner, her husband passed away. Yeah, and this is where the RV was, and so we went ahead and decked it. And so this is where we would be able to have like the kids camps down here, and then this area right here is terrace, so we have enough for about 140 people at tables. We'll do one more terrace over this way this next year, so we'll be able to have weddings of up to 200. The ceremony spaces for small weddings are right there, right in between the 2 creeks, and then the ceremonies for the big weddings are out in what we call the wedding pasture, which is where Tricia and I got married, my wife and I. Well, that's the place. So yeah, Oh, let me show you where that trail starts so you can see that. Yeah, this was the size of the timbers that were in here before it burnt. So there were big, huge cottonwoods. Yeah, you can see the ones that are laying on the ground there. I mean, this has all come back. And you know how cottonwoods are. They get kind of junky when they get huge. So we're going to see kind of the glory days of these cottonwoods. So this is where the ceremonies happen for the big weddings, and they're just beautiful when they lay out here. But the trail, so you'll see that green gate right there?
Yeah.
When you walk through that green gate, literally right in front of you, if you look close, you can see the trail and it leads straight up. And then once you go about 20 feet, the trail gets really distinct. But if you walk through that green gate and then it goes up over there, goes up over the mountain, goes to that saddle, and then goes clear up to the top. And the view from up there is of the reservoir, so it's beautiful because the reservoir is right on the other side. So it's gorgeous. And it's just enough of a hike where at the end you feel like you did something. So it's one of these moments. Yeah.